Lord Krishna never needed to marry 16,000 princesses because he is self-satisfied. He has no lust. He can impregnates the world with his eyes. He is always a virgin. He married them because they wanted to marry him. No one should copy God because he can multiply himself into so many of himself. Each wife felt that Lord Krishna is only with her. Since Lord Krishna can sit in each and every heart and atom, then do you think that he cannot multiply himself? He is God, remember. Can a regular human being kill so many demons, lift Govardhan Hill as a child with a pinky? Can a regular person show the universal form like Lord Krishna? So no one should ever look at Lord Krishna in the wrong way. He is the kindest, most loving, caring, supreme person God. Please see and listen to how Lord Krishna treated each and every princess in each and every palace in his various multiplication of himself. This is what Narad Muni saw. Remember that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He can multiply himself into multiple forms, and Radharani can multiply into many forms as well. They are the Supreme God and Goddess. They displayed their supreme godly powers on earth. They are complete within themselves. They came on earth to protect us and help us. Radharani has the power to multiply into many princesses. All this is explained in the Vedic literatures such as the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is written in these great Vedic literatures that one should never imitate Lord Krishna because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. An ordinary person cannot lift the Govardhan Hill with his or her pinky, or create so many universes, or multiply into so many forms, and so on. Just see the previous episodes and be amazed of the greatness of Lord Krishna. Also, please read the great spiritual Vedic literatures. Then a person can understand the greatness and the kindness of Lord Krishna. See how he blessed the Pandavas with so much protection and opulence, Siddhama Brahman and many countless devotees. Brahma was amazed how Lord Krishna became so many cowherd boys. Lord Krishna is sitting in each and every living being's hearts and in each and every atom. It is a great offense to think of copying God. God is great. He is omnipotent and omnipresent. The great sage Narada heard that Lord Krishna had married 16,000 wives after he had killed the demon Bhamasura. Narada became astonished that Lord Krishna had expanded himself into 16,000 forms and married these wives simultaneously in different palaces. Being inquisitive as to how Krishna was managing his household life in so many palaces, Narada desired to see these pastimes and so set out to visit Krishna's different palaces. When Narada arrived in Dwarka, he saw that the gardens and parks were full of various flowers of different colors and orchards that were overloaded with a variety of fruits. Beautiful birds were chirping, and peacocks were delightfully crowing. There were tanks and ponds full of blue and red lotus flowers, and some of these sites were filled with varieties of lilies. The lakes were full of nice swans and cranes whose voices resounded everywhere. In the city there were as many as 900,000 great palaces built of first-class marble with gates and doors made of silver. The posts of the houses and palaces were bedecked with jewels such as touchstone, sapphires and emeralds, and the floors gave off a beautiful luster. The highways, lanes, streets, crossings, and marketplaces were all beautifully decorated. The whole city was full of residential homes, assembly houses, and temples, all of different architectural beauty. All of this made Dwarka a glowing city. The big avenues, crossings, lanes, streets, and also the thresholds of every residential house were very clean. On both sides of every path there were bushes, and at regular intervals there were large trees that shaded the avenues so that the sunshine would not bother the passers-by. In this greatly beautiful city of Dwarka, Lord Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, had many residential quarters. The great kings and princes of the world used to visit these palaces just to worship him. The architectural plans were made personally by Vishvakarma, the engineer of the demigods, and in the construction of the palaces he exhibited all of his talents and ingenuity. These residential quarters numbered more than 16,000, and a different queen of Lord Krishna resided in each of them. Narada entered one of these houses and saw that the pillars were made of coral and the ceilings were bedecked with jewels. The walls as well as the arches between the pillars glowed from the decorations of different kinds of sapphires. Throughout the palace, there were many canopies made by Vishvakarma that were decorated with strings of pearls. The chairs and other furniture were bedecked with gold and diamonds, and jeweled lamps dissipated the darkness within the palace. There were many maidservants, all of whom were decorated with gold necklaces, bangles, and beautiful saris. There were also many male servants who were nicely dressed in cloaks and turbans and jeweled earrings. Beautiful as they were, the servants were all engaged in different household duties. Narada saw that Lord Krishna was sitting with Rukmini Devi, the queen of that particular palace, who was bearing the rod of a Kamara whisk. Even though there were many thousands of maidservants who were equally beautiful and qualified, and who were of the same age, Rukmini Devi personally was engaged in fanning Lord Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, worshipped even by Narada. But still, as soon as he saw Narada enter the palace, Krishna got stood up to honor him. Lord Krishna is the teacher of the whole world, and in order to instruct everyone how to respect a saintly person like Narad Muni, Krishna bowed down, touching his helmet to the ground. Not only did Krishna bow down, but he also touched the feet of Narada and with folded hands requested him to sit on his chair. Lord Krishna is the supreme personality worshipped by all devotees. He is the most worshipped spiritual master of everyone. Lord Krishna asked Narada,
"What can I do in your service?"
Narada replied,
My dear Lord, this kind of behavior by your lordship is not at all astonishing because you are the supreme personality of Godhead and master of all species of living entities. You are the supreme friend of all living entities, but at the same time you are the supreme chastiser of the miscreants and the envious. I know that your lordship has descended on this earth for the proper maintenance of the whole universe. Your appearance, therefore, is not forced by any other agency. By your suite will only you agree to appear and disappear. It is my great fortune that I have been able to see your lotus feet today. Anyone who becomes attached to your lotus feet is elevated to the supreme position of neutrality and is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. My lord, you are unlimited. There is no limit to your opulences. Great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are always busy placing you within their hearts and meditating upon you. The conditioned souls who have now been put into the blind well of material existence can get out of this eternal captivity only by accepting your lotus feet. Thus, you are the only shelter of all conditioned souls. My dear Lord, you have very kindly asked what you can do for me. In answer to this, I simply request that I may not forget your lotus feet at any time. I do not care where I may be, but I pray that I may be allowed to constantly remember your lotus feet.
After departing from the palace of Rukmini, Naradaji wanted to see the activities of Lord Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya. Thus he entered the palace of another queen. There he saw Lord Krishna engaged in playing chess, along with his dear wife and Adhava. The Lord immediately got up from his seat and invited Narad Muni to sit on his personal seat. The Lord again worshipped him with as much paraphernalia for reception as he had in the palace of Rukmini. After worshipping him properly, Lord Krishna acted as if he did not know what had happened in the palace of Rukmini. He therefore told Narada,
My dear sage, when your holiness comes here, you are full in yourself. Although we are householders and are always in need, you don't require anyone's help because you are self-satisfied. Under the circumstances, what reception can we offer you, and what can we possibly give you? Yet, since your holiness is a Brahmana, it is our duty to offer you something as far as possible. Therefore, I beg your pleasure to order me. What can I do for you?
Naradaji knew everything about the pastimes of the Lord, so without any further discussion, he simply left the palace silently, in great astonishment over the Lord's activities. He then entered another palace. This time Naradaji saw that Lord Krishna was engaged as an affectionate father petting his small children. From there he entered another palace and saw Lord Krishna preparing to take his bath. In other palaces, Narada saw Lord Krishna engaged in getting his sons and daughters married with suitable brides and bridegrooms in due course of time, and the marriage ceremonies were being performed with great pomp. In one palace, he was found bidding farewell to his daughters, and in another he was found receiving a daughter-in-law. People throughout the whole city were astonished to see such pomp and ceremonies. Thus Narada saw one single Krishna multiplied doing different activities in 16,000 palaces by his plenary expansions. Due to his inconceivable energy, he was visible in each and every individual queen's palace. Lord Krishna has unlimited power, and Narada's astonishment was boundless upon observing again and again the demonstration of Lord Krishna's internal energy. For more detailed information, please read the Krishna book translated by Srila Prabhupada from Sanskrit to English. You will always be blessed by Lord Krishna and Radharani by hearing these stories of Lord Krishna from authoritative scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam from which the Krishna book came. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hare Krishna!